everyone, I'm Shana and I'm a performing arts coach. Today I want to talk about overcoming performance anxiety. Now, there are the usual relaxing mechanisms such as meditation, breathing, trying to convince yourself that you're relaxed, but at some points a lot of these techniques don't end up working. So what can you really do to overcome performance anxiety? Let's look at what causes performance anxiety. Your three main points are feelings of inadequacy, worrying about making mistakes, and also worried about failure, humiliation. On top of that, you've got adrenaline, which just adds to the distress. Before we begin, it's important to realize that we can't actually stop feeling anxiety, but we can learn to manage it. So, how do we overcome this? The first point is very obvious: mastery. Be so good at what you do that you cannot fail ever. And this means practicing every day, every week, every month, every year. Make sure that you have honed your craft to such a perfect point that you know that you can get up on that stage and you can play without messing up. Side note with that though, make sure that you are safe with your practicing. Don't practice for hours a day screeching at the top of your lungs or drumming for about 10 hours until you throw a shoulder out. Be safe, but still practice as often as you can. And then also when you do perform, just stay within your capabilities. Don't reach for something that's so far above your range that you're just going to hurt yourself trying to get there. You build up, you improve little by little, okay, but you will get there. Point 2, don't hold back in lessons. Now this is building onto what I've just said about constantly rehearsing, slowly building yourself up there, trying to get to the top, but working there nicely. So within lessons, I've got a lot of children that come in and they have this tiny little singing voice and they speak normally, but as soon as they sing, they're very quiet. And that has 100% got to do with fear of humiliation. They don't want me to judge them. They're so scared that they keep themselves very quiet so that they can self-monitor what they're singing. They don't want to sing so loud that they can't hear, that they're going off, or that they screech, or that they just don't sound good enough. So they keep it all in. Whereas in my lessons, I say, no. None of that. We're going to sing as loud as we possibly can. A lot of the time I get them to just shout the lyrics at me because that gets the projection, that makes them sing nice and loud. And eventually they end up having such a good time that they just start singing properly. And by properly, I mean they just start trying to sing. They're not singing like this, they're singing like this. Okay, I hope that was on key. It doesn't matter anyway. So when you're in your lessons, or even, I wouldn't quite say rehearsals, but try push yourself past that extent. If you're screeching a little bit, it doesn't matter. As long as you're not hurting yourself, you're trying to get somewhere that you've never been able to get before. As babies, we aren't born just magically able to speak and able to walk. We learn, slowly but surely. We fall a lot. We don't make sense for about 2 years of our lives. Okay, singing's the same. You can't just always stay within your capability. If your range is only a 2 octave, you're never going to get anywhere if you don't try go higher and try go lower. But you have to do it safely, and I would say focus on your lessons. Yes, when you perform on stage, I'm not saying try hit that high C that you've never ever been able to hit in lessons. It's not going to magically happen. So when you're on stage and you're doing a performance, make sure that you're comfortable with what you're singing, that you feel safe with what you're singing, that you know you aren't going to hurt yourself. But within lessons, sing loud. It doesn't matter if you're off key. It doesn't matter if you're screeching. Your teacher is not judging you. Your teacher is trying to get you to that next point. And if your teacher does judge you, not that I'm making any judgments on that teacher, but you should probably find a new one. Because it's not our job to say you can or can't do this. It's our job to help you get to where you want to be. So remember, in your lessons, all I'm saying is just extend past that, but again, be safe. Don't injure yourselves. It's also worth noting that when you are on stage, even if you are trying to hit a high note that you still struggle with, or if you are worried that you shriek or that you're going to be off key a little bit or off pitch, it doesn't really matter what happens if you do get that wrong. So you don't win the competition. Sometimes you mess up, sometimes you don't. You have to be okay with that. Okay, now what causes your main kind of panic disorder on stage, the shakes, the struggle to breathe, the sweating, is adrenaline. Now, adrenaline aids in your fight or flight mode. What that means is if you are being attacked, or if you're looking over the edge of a very, very steep cliff, your adrenaline levels suddenly rise, and your body either says, fight them off, or run the hell away. And that is the same thing that often happens on stage. So sometimes you'll get up there, but rather than having somebody with a knife chasing after you, you've got 100 people in the audience sitting quietly looking at you. And that is scary. And your body says, oh no, oh no, oh no, run away, run away. And what you need to do is not run away. You need to fight. You need to just stand there and perform. But a lot of the time that means performing through shaking like this and a wavering voice and just freaking out completely. So what I usually try to get my students to do, and what I even do, is that my first 2 songs, and the first 2 songs I give them to perform, are very easy. Or these songs that I know that I feel the most comfortable with. So it's stuff that I've been performing since I was about 10. Or it's stuff that I know I cannot get wrong because it is either really simple or I've just practiced it to my mastery extent. So even if my voice is shaking, and even if I'm struggling to breathe a little bit and feel like I might hyperventilate, the lights are very bright, and yes, it does happen to me, it happens to everyone at one point or another, but as long as your first 2 songs are easy enough and you can get through them, suddenly you find your adrenal levels start dropping and you calm down a little and you relax, and suddenly you can perform the harder, sort of more technical songs. Because your body has realized you're not in danger, you're not going to die, you're okay. So all you need to do is get through those first 2 songs, and then you'll find it's much easier for the rest. So never ever sing/play your hardest song first. Okay, it should be something that really gets the audience involved, but don't ever play your harder one first, because you will struggle. Unless you are one of those weird people that can literally just stand on stage and do whatever and you're fine. Great if you can. I am not one of those people. Now, this hurts me to say, but just before performance, try stay away from caffeine and sugar and alcohol. Now, I know it feels like it gives you a little bit of a kick and it gives you that extra bit of energy, but what it actually does is spike your glucose levels. It adds on to your already high adrenal levels, and suddenly you find that your heart is pulsating and you can't breathe, and suddenly you are very, very, very anxious. And the only reason is because you've just added on the little extra kick. So your adrenaline will actually get you to that energy level that you need. You don't need to have anything else beforehand. Now, that's not to say that a couple of hours before you can't have any coffee or you can't have anything sugary. It's just closer to your performance time, you don't want to spike your adrenal levels. And so you just need to have water. Stick with water just before you go on and you'll be fine. Now, the next tip may seem a little overindulgent, but it has helped me in the past. So don't give yourself any extra stress before a performance. So if you are performing slightly far away and you need to drive for about 2 hours or so, rather than going there the day of the performance, try go there the night before. You get there early, you get a nice night's sleep, and you just get to be calm the next day so that you're ready for your performance. Okay, if you stress yourself out just before, it's not really going to help you that much. The other thing you can do is also, if it's maybe a little bit closer, rather than taking the train or driving yourself, you could get a taxi. Firstly, this also, again, saves you unnecessary stress about trying to navigate the roads and navigate the trains. I've had many panic attacks on trains. And also, you just feel a little bit important, like you've got a car coming to fetch you, and you feel like this is your show, this is for you. Again, it seems a little bit extreme, but it really does help. Also, when you do your setup, try get there early, try set up early, and if you can get somebody to help you, it really does help. You really don't want to stress yourself out unnecessarily just before a performance. So give yourself lots of time, get help if you can, you'll feel a lot better for it. Now, the last tip is both a performance technique as well as a coping mechanism. It's something one of my lecturers used to call find the red shirts. And it's quite simple. You get on stage and you start playing a little game with yourself called find the people in the crowd with the red shirts. And so you slowly scan the crowd up and down as you're singing or playing, whenever you look up. and you say, I'm going to find everybody wearing a red shirt. And then once that's done, you change it to maybe I'm going to find people wearing blue shirts, or I'm going to find people with a top knot. And you slowly work your way through these different objects that you can find while you're performing. This firstly gives your brain something else to think about, so it's not stressing going, oh my gosh, I'm going to make a mistake, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. Your brain is saying, find the red shirt, find the red shirt, find the red shirt. And that way you find that you're a lot more relaxed. The other thing, well, the way it helps with your performance is that you are scanning the audience and you're making eye contact with them. So they think that you're really performing to them, that you are connecting with them on a bit of a deeper level. They don't really need to know that you're actually just, commenting on their choice of clothing in your own head. All they know is that you are looking at them. Okay, and this also helps you so that you're not standing there pacing and looking at the floor and twiddling your thumbs. You're singing, you're looking, you're scanning, your brain is working, and you are performing much better. So that's a really nice game that I like to play and that I've given a lot of my students to play, and I can see the massive improvement when they're trying to scan for people wearing whatever. Try it, it does help. If you'd like any more information on performance anxiety, try to look at this book. You can see I've got all of my little post-it notes in there already with my own little things. Secrets of Performing Confidence by Andrew Evans and Adam Evans. It is brilliant. It got me through my masters. It still gets me through now when I'm having a bit of an issue with certain students and I don't really know how to tackle it. This book usually has the answer. It also caters to dancers and actors and other musicians, not just singers. So it's really nice if you're just a general performer. It's a good book to have if you want more information. But again, if you have your own coping mechanisms, do whatever you need to do. If it does help you to meditate before a performance or do breathing techniques or visualization techniques, do it. Do whatever helps you. These are literally just extra things that if you've tried everything else, it still doesn't work, you can try these. Hopefully they just add to your performance, if nothing else. If you have any extra tips or any questions for me, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if this video helped you, and please also follow me on Instagram and Facebook. The links are below. Bye for now and happy music.